What's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is Jasmine and today's video is going to be on a very important topic that I have been wanting to talk about so bad because I feel like everyone should know this information. Whether you are pregnant, wanting to become pregnant in the future, know someone who's pregnant, yeah, it's just really important information. So the topic of today's video is going to be how to give birth pain-free without the use of any pain medication whatsoever. So just you and your body. So no epidural, no pain meds, nothing like that. Just you and your body, pain-free. Let's go. So before we talk about birth, let's back it on up to pregnancy. So pregnancy is actually it's actually before you get pregnant that you should start these habits, but if not, it's okay to start during pregnancy. But we're going to start with what you should start doing while you're pregnant to help your labor go as smoothly as possible. And so the first thing is nutrition. Obviously eat a healthy, well-balanced diet. Lots of fruit, lots of veggies, lots of protein. Yeah, just get all your nutrition. Limit sugars and fast foods and like stuff like that. Carbs. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I'm sure everyone knows how to eat a healthy diet, but it's super important to help the baby grow the way they're supposed to. So, and also vitamins. So yeah, I'm sure you've heard all this information before, so this is nothing new, but it is really important. So if you're taking care of your body, first of all, eating is super important. Second is staying active. This tip is super important because I think a lot of people think that when you're pregnant, you're supposed to take it easy, when in fact it's better to just like continue. Obviously don't do like heavy lifting or like anything crazy like that, but a lot of people are like, just continue. I mean, a lot of people are like, you need to sit down and rest and like try to make you just like sit down majority of your pregnancy because they think you're pregnant, they think you're handicapped or something. So no, you're not handicapped. Your body knows how to grow a baby. So yeah, obviously don't do anything crazy. Don't lift heavy stuff or like go on rides at the amusement park or anything wild like that. But you can continue like working, walking every day. Yeah, so just stay active during your pregnancy. Obviously, go off your doctor's recommendation because everyone's different and some people might need to take it easier depending on certain conditions, but we're just talking about low-risk women who are pregnant. So if you are not low risk, please consult your doctor before taking any of these tips, please. So you're staying active. One thing that's really good to do when you're pregnant is squatting, because squatting, oh my gosh, this girl's about to fall off the bed. Just keep it in. Squatting helps your leg muscles and your perineum and like all the muscles that you're going to be using during labor and delivery. So yeah, squats are super helpful to help build up that pelvic floor. So yeah, another thing that you should do every single day, like I like to use like a tip, like put an alarm on your phone, or even like anytime you get in the car, just like something you know you're going to do every day so it will remind you. So if you're like, every time I get in the car, I'm going to do Kegels. So Kegels is what we're talking about. So if you don't know what a Kegel is, it's when you work out the pelvic floor muscle by contracting and releasing, contracting and releasing. And this really helps build up the pelvic floor. Even if you're not pregnant, you should be doing your Kegels every day. I try to do them while I brush my teeth. I try to do squats and Kegels when I brush my teeth because obviously I need to do those two things every day. But sometimes I forget. But yeah, so Kegels, squatting, those two things are great. If you're having back pain, a lot, getting on all fours and doing like the cat cow or whatever, that position's called. It's all pretty awesome as well for your body. So yeah, just staying active is super important during pregnancy. So now that we've talked about pregnancy, we're gonna jump right into labor. So something it's really, really important to know about the process of labor beforehand. That way you know what's happening to your body when it's happening, with what, rather than just going off what other people are telling you. So yeah, learn as much as you can. You don't necessarily have to know all of the you don't necessarily have to know all of the anatomy and stuff behind it, but just to know like the stages of labor and the way the baby's descending and that your water breaks and the mucus plug, just like know the basics that is happening in your body. That way when it's happening, you'll know what's happening. You won't be like, oh, what's happening to me, because you aren't informed, you know? So it's better, it's easier if you know what's going on. Your uterus is contracting to bring the baby down. So if you know that what's happening to your body, it's so much easier to just like go with it. And if you feel like some weird sensations, you tend to tense up, and like, which is what you do not want to do, because if you're tense, then you're not going with the process. You're like going against the process, making the process harder and more painful. So if you're going with the process, then it will be a lot less painful. So I just want to talk about something that happened to me. So pretty much all doctors, midwives are not the same. Well, actually, I had a midwife. So I had a midwife when I delivered at a hospital for my second birth, and my midwife realized my due date was coming up, and she was like, okay, you're pushing it, going to your due date. I think you need to be induced. And a lot of doctors will recommend that you be induced if you're not going to have your baby before on your due date, mostly because they want to know when you're going into labor, like so it fits around their schedule. So they want to induce you so that they can like guarantee to be there, and they can like plan everything out. So a due date is not actually your actual due date. A due date is an estimate. It could be like 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after. Anytime in that time frame, your baby can be born, and your body knows what to do. Your body knows how to bring your baby into the world. So if your doctor tells you this, like my doctor did, I'd be a little, instead of just taking your advice, oh, okay, you say I need to be induced, then I think I should be induced. I would do a little bit of research. When you know that a due date is not actually a due date, then you'll realize that it's not necessary for you to be induced. In some situations, like I said, when you're not low risk, there's extenuating circumstances where it might be necessary. But if you're low risk and your due date, you're within a few days of your due date, it is not necessary to be induced. So I'll tell you a little bit about what an induction is. So your body releases oxytocin to let your body, your baby, just to get the whole system going to know it's time for labor. So your body releases a lot of oxytocin. And whenever you're induced, you have an IV of Pitocin, which is artificial oxytocin. So when you have this artificial hormone being pumped into your body, it's gonna make artificial contractions. Like instead of the contractions being caused by oxytocin, they'd be caused by Pitocin. So you're basically having like artificial contractions, and Pitocin contractions are so much worse than real contractions. Real contractions happen naturally. When you're being forced to have contractions, essentially, by the Pitocin, it's going to be a lot more painful, which is why most people that are induced opt to have an epidural, because they're in so much pain from the Pitocin contractions. But if you go on without being induced with not getting Pitocin, the contractions are a lot more manageable. So yeah, so try not, if you're within the 2-week span of your due date, try not to be induced. Just go for it. Your baby knows and your body knows what to do when it's time. Your baby will come. So yeah, okay. So you're starting to have consistent contractions on your own. Oxytocin is pumping. You're starting to have contractions on your own without the help of Pitocin. So once your contractions are pretty close together, you're gonna go to call your midwife or your doctor. It's important to kind of listen to your doctor and your midwife. It's important to stay at home as long as you can, labor as long as you can until you're feeling pretty like your contractions are really close together. So once they're pretty far apart, it's probably going to be a while. So you're probably going to be still hours till your baby's born. So you can stay at home, labor at home, and maybe even rest through the early parts of labor when your contractions are far apart. Yeah, so try and do that instead of feeling your contractions and immediately going to the hospital, because the longer you're at the hospital, the more impatient you'll be. When you're at home, you can rest and feel more comfortable, or at the birth center or the home birth, whatever type of birth you're having. I didn't mean to say hospital, but so yeah, so just try and ease through your early labor. And the way to ease through your early labor is to stay hydrated, stay nourished, eat. I know a lot of people think you can't eat during labor, but eat what you feel like you can eat. Obviously don't get a burger or something, but just eat what you can, what you feel like eating. Yeah, just stay nourished, because you want to have energy. You need the energy to work through labor. This is like you're running a marathon, girl, because it's going to be a process, but it's manageable. It is manageable. All right, other than staying hydrated and nourished, it is important to stay active. Just like we talked about during pregnancy, staying active during labor is just as important. You don't want to be laying down. I mean, obviously rest during your early parts of labor when you're able to rest, but when labor starts to pick up and your contractions start to pick up, it's not probably the best idea to lay down. You're trying to go with gravity. Baby's trying to come down. So when you're laying down, you're not really helping the baby descend. So up and walking stairs, walking curves, yeah, just walking, moving those hips, even bouncing on an exercise ball with your legs spread. Anything that's gonna help baby descend is great. Laying down, sitting down, not so much, because you're gonna slow your progress down a little bit. So yeah, so stay up, stay active, keep walking through labor. Dancing is amazing. You can look at some videos on YouTube of women dancing throughout their labor. Women belly dancing is amazing, which is one of the maneuvers that I use, hip circles through your contractions. I can't go through all of the coping mechanisms to help deal with contractions in this video, but if you'd like to see a video about that, comment below. But I have an awesome resource, and that is this book, The Birth Partner. It's not only for birth partners. A pregnant woman could read this, but it's super helpful if your partner does read this, because it tells you a lot of the coping mechanisms. It tells you all about the process of labor. It's an awesome read for someone who is pregnant. Yeah.
He's gonna wake up when I was with the computer.
No, it's not. Just get it. So yeah, and it also has the comparison of birth to running a marathon, and how you should have knowledge of what to expect, prior planning, physical health and fitness, encouragement and support throughout, adequate nourishment, pacing yourself, everything that we talked about is in this book. So if you're one of those people that learns better from reading, then I would definitely pick up this book. I would pick up this book regardless because it's super, super helpful. It's called The Birth Partner. Another recommendation that I would recommend checking out is The Business of Being Born documentary. It's very eye-opening on how basically women have been robbed of the birth experience by the medical profession, because instantly when you become pregnant, you're automatically like a patient rather than a woman giving birth. Yes, I basically feel as though like women have been robbed of this experience in a way because a lot of women don't know this information. You go, when you get pregnant, you immediately make an appointment with your doctor, see your doctor every however many weeks that you're supposed to see your doctor, be induced, get an epidural. You just follow what the doctor says, and the way they're trained is not to just let things happen. They're basically trained to prepare for emergencies or like fix things that go wrong. Kids, man, they just keep interrupting me. I love them, but so yeah, where was I? So yeah, doctors prepare for like worst case scenarios. They're not expecting things to go perfectly. They're expecting like obstacles to arise, and so they're prepared for that, and that's what they train you for. But they don't really teach you about just sitting back and letting a woman work through her labor on her own. So yeah, so not saying that all doctors are bad in that sense, but the vast majority of them are trained this way. So a lot of them are going to recommend that you're induced, and like I was really shocked that when I experienced it for myself, that a midwife was like, oh, you're pushing it, going past your due date, a day past your due date. Like, how don't you know that that's not actually my due? Like, you're not like, but it's real, and this happens, and women get bullied and pressured into doing things that they might not want to do. They might have a vision in their head of how they want their labor to be, and then they don't get to have it because doctors push their wills on them. So yeah, it's important to be informed about what you want, the process, everything that can happen, and have people with you that know your plan in case you're busy in labor realm, in like the labor realm, like you're out of it. They can be your voice, and like your partner. A doula is amazing to have there for you. That could be your advocate, your husband, your wife, your whoever, just someone there with you, your sister, your mom. Like, have someone there with you that can support you and knows your birth plan and what you have in mind for your birth to help it go the way you want it. So yeah, back to the instructional part. So yeah, so we are walking, we are moving our hips, we are on that birth ball. We are having counter pressure put on our backs by our partners because we picked up the birth partner and we know some coping mechanisms. Now you're getting into the intense part of labor, and this is really important to know because I feel like this is the part, even myself, when I wanted to give up, you just feel like baby's never gonna come. The contractions start to be like one on top of the other. It just becomes so intense. And you just want to give up. It's important to still keep being active. Stand up, move those hips, walk, but I just want to give you the biggest tip. Whenever you start to feel like you want to give up, just know that is usually when your baby's that's when it's the end. So if you made it to this point, you can do it. Like, you made it this far, that's the end of labor. That's when it becomes so intense, like the climax, and then baby. So just hold on through this part that you feel like you want to give up. Water is also an awesome coping mechanism. You know, you can sit in it and relax. And it doesn't really delay your progress. You can even squat in the bathtub if you want to, if you're worried about delaying your progress because you're sitting. So yeah, pushing. So we got to the point where labor got super intense and our contractions are right on top of each other. We're so like ready to give up, but hey, someone says, I can see the head, like you need to push. So we're at pushing. So there's a lot of pushing positions as well in the birth partner, and I'm sure you could do some research to find different pushing positions that are optimal for getting baby out. So my usual pushing position, if you look back at my birth story, you could see is like the kind of like sitting with your legs up, not laying down because that's going against gravity, but kind of like a squat in the air type situation I had going on, which is how I delivered all 3 of my babies. And I just really like having that counter pressure where I can like push on something with my hands, which is why I deliver like that. A lot of people prefer the water or squatting. Squatting is awesome. So yeah, so just find what works for you. You might have to get into a few different positions to find what's most comfortable, but just know that's like the end of it when you're pushing. So go with the contractions, push with the contractions. Try not to like hold it in or like, yeah, just push with the contractions. Just go with it. Relax is super important. I know when you're in that intense part of labor, it's hard to relax. But relaxing is just like so much better, and it helps your baby ease out. And yeah, so yeah, and then you push your baby out. And yeah, I feel like I need to make a part 2 of this video because I feel like there's just so much more I can talk about labor. But yeah, so as long as you're staying active, staying hydrated, staying fueled with food, and get your rest, and get into optimal positions, then you'll be fine. But the number one tip from the get-go is do not fear the laboring process. Super important, because I feel like everyone watches these movies and we see like these horrific birth experiences, and when everyone talks about it, they're just like, oh, birth is horrible, terrible, it's so painful. But it really does not have to be that way, and I've experienced it not that way 3 times, you know, experienced pain-free labors 3 times. There was definitely extreme levels of discomfort during my labors, but it was never painful, and it was just like such an incredible, like, mind-blowing experience that everyone should be able to get to experience, not the horrific, terrifying ways that you hear about and see, but this magical experience. So yeah, just don't be afraid. Go into it with knowing that your body was made to do this, and yeah, you can do it. And please drop your questions below, because I know there's so much more that we can go through. Pick up this book, watch The Business of Being Born, and yeah, I think that's it. So thanks for watching. Have a beautiful day. Bye.